Introduction. Certainly, we ask Allah to enable us to strive for the language for the sake of the religion, meaning not just to be able to order a taxi cab or buy bread from the market or something in Arabic. Rather, we
Right.
want to learn Arabic language for the sake of the religion so that we can see the proofs for ourselves, for example, so that we can understand what the scholars were talking about. For even if we did not acquire the ability to speak, perhaps we would acquire the ability to benefit from the religious evidence. Because you don't need to know how to speak Arabic fluently to be able to benefit from the religious evidence, the religious documents. You would need some Arabic, though. You need to be able to make out enough Arabic. And of course, you're not going to be able to understand any proof as long as your Arabic is weak. I mean, not any and every proof, as long as your Arabic is weak, but you will benefit. You will be able to understand things, pull things apart. I remember when, before I knew Arabic, I had an excerpt from the book of Ibn Hajar al Asqalani, Fathul Bari, in which he talked about the hadith of Nuzul,
Right.
with the angel comes down, and also had the excerpt of Imam An-Nawawi from his explanation of Sahih Muslim, talking about Hadith al-Jariyah,
Mm.
Hadith of the slave girl. And I could not hardly make out anything, but I asked one of the sheikhs. I told him, can you just read it to me? Translate it for me. So he
Hmm.
translated it for me. And when he did that, then just helped me a lot. Then I was able to still just pull stuff apart and figure out some sentences and things. And this alone was very beneficial for strengthening my certainty about the issue or the issues. So, learning Arabic, what is its judgment? It is a communal obligation. It is among the original languages revealed to Adam, and it is the language of Paradise's people, and it is the best of languages. So if it's among the original languages revealed to Adam, it is amongst the original languages revealed to Adam. Some people they claim that Arabic language is taken from Hebrew,
Yes.
and that's a lie. Rather, Arabic language is an original language, and Hebrew is an original language, and Syriac or Assyrian or Aramaic is an original language. Although all of these languages are similar, none of them is taken from the other.
Mm.
Each one is an usul. Each one is an usul. Its own source is an
Mhm.
original language. Uh, and so it's an assumption that because two things are similar, that one of them should have come from the other one. It's not necessarily the case.
Right.
Uh, so, for example, Arabic has something called masadir. Masadir means sources, origins. Masadir is the plural of masdar, source. So there's nouns in Arabic called masadir, source nouns,
Mhm.
such as some words you might know, darb, or for example, julus,
Mhm.
sitting, or for example, akl, eating. So these are source nouns, julus, darb, akl, meaning what? Meaning that these words themselves, they don't have any, they are not derived from something before them. They don't come from a prior source. So if somebody were to claim that Arabic language is taken from Hebrew language, for example, then he would need to show how the thousands and thousands and thousands of source nouns in Arabic came from Hebrew.
Mhm.
When we say these are source nouns, this means other things are derived from them. And so from any one of these source nouns, yani, let me come down here. From any one of these source nouns, let's go ahead and take the example of darb, our standard. From any one of these source nouns, then you get a past tense verb, daraba, and you get a present or future tense verb, yadribu, and you get a command, idrib, and you get a doer, darib, and you get something or someone done to, madroob, and other things. So we're going to come back to this, inshallah ta'ala. The point of what I'm just demonstrating to you now is that Arabic itself has original sources for other words. Yani, there's words in Arabic. These words are derived from words in Arabic, from prior words in Arabic. Those prior words are called masadir, sources. And these masadir, these source nouns, they are Arabic. They're not Hebrew, they're not Aramaic, and they're not from another language. So Arabic is an original language. It's not a derived language. And amongst the indications that it is an original language is that, according to what appears from the hadiths, the first thing that Adam uttered, alayhi salatu wassalam, was Arabic. Because when he came to life, he sneezed. And then he said, Alhamdulillah. And then the angel said, Yarhamukallah. And Allah commanded him to go over to the angels and to greet them. So then there was a greeting between them. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. So what appears that this is Arabic? So Arabic is one of the original languages revealed to Adam alayhi salam. And it's the language of paradise. And it's the best of languages. Yeah. And when we say is the best of languages, then this means that it's comparable. Some people claim that you cannot compare Arabic to another language. I don't know how they make this claim. You're going to compare Arabic to another language. And I would say to such a person, how can we say Arabic is best language if we're not comparing it in the first place? We are comparing it and then saying it's the best of languages. And not just that, but it is comparable to other languages in different ways. Sometimes, for example, Arabic has inconsistency in it. When Arabic has inconsistency in it, the inconsistency in the Arabic language is called shudud. Irregularity or anomaly, shuzuz. Every language has shuzuz. Arabic language is not unique in this regard. Every language has shuzuz, inconsistency. But the shuzuz of Arabic language is little bit. Much less than other languages, and most of the time is to make things easier. So there's actually is a function to the shudud in the Arabic language. Most of the time is to make things easier. Okay, so its branches are numerous and vast in and of themselves. Yani, Arabic language is so vast. Each branch on its own is so vast. And you put all those branches together, you will come up with something so incredibly vast. And so we're just going to take a look at some of these branches here so we can become acquainted. So here's a section on sciences of the Arabic language. I took this from Dr. Wafi. Sorry?
Dr. Wafi.
Wafi, yes. Dr. Wafi al-Maji. Yani, he broke down these sciences for us. He listed them for us and gave us an introduction like I'm going to give to you. But then I took that lesson, I translated it, and I supplemented what he gave us with information I had too. And that's what I'm sharing with you right now. So let the beginner among us treat Arabic as not merely a language, but a religious science. That's very important. It is a religious science. It's not merely a language, as it deserves to be treated. Thus, let him acquire it through the trustworthy Muslim teachers who have chains of narration. Chain of narration for Arabic language? One might say, I can understand having a chain of narration back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How are you going to have a chain of narration for the Arabic language? The answer is that what's meant here is to acquire the Arabic language through the Sunni scholars, because they are the original documenters of the language, of the rules of the language. The old Arabs didn't used to study their language. When I say they didn't used to study, it means they didn't used to go to school for it. Rather, they had a knack for it. They had a natural knack for Arabic language. They would speak this language correctly and eloquently and be using it to its fullest potential without having gone to school. And in most of the cases, without even knowing how to read or write. Most of the Arabs were illiterate, not just Prophet Muhammad.
Right.
Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. His being illiterate was something common among Arabs. They didn't have schools in the Arabian Peninsula at that time. Only the privileged people had tutors or teachers or schools. So the Muslim scholars are the original documenters of the rules of the language. And that started with the story of Imam Abul Aswad ad-Du'ali with his daughter on the rooftop. That story that you know, when he was on the rooftop with his daughter. And then she said to him, while they were looking up at the stars, she said to him, Bismillah, she said, Ya abati, ma ahsanu samai. Ya abati, ma ahsanu samai. So he answered her according to what she said out of her mouth. So he said to her, Yani, what does this statement mean? What is the best thing or the most beautiful thing of the sky? Yani, this is an idafa here. So ma, the way this is worded, ma is for a question. What? And when you have here this kasra, this means that these two words are an idafa. Mudaf and mudaf ilayhi. Ahsanu samai, the best of the sky, or most beautiful of the sky. So she's asking him a question. She was not really asking him a question. She was expressing astonishment to him. That's what she meant to say. But what she actually said was a question. Ma ahsanu sama. So he answered her according to what she said. So he said to her, Nujumuha. It's stars. Nujumuha. It's stars. So when she heard what he said to her, she knew that he didn't understand her. So she said, Ya Abba, oh father, ma aradtu hadha. That's not what I meant. She said, "Oh, father, that's not what I meant. Aradtu ta'ajuba." She said, "I meant to express astonishment. I was astonished by the beauty of the twinkling of the stars." So he corrected her and he said to her, "Iftahi fak, open your mouth." He means he's saying, say it with fatha. Say, "Ma ahsana samaa." Say, "Ma ahsana samaa." Now it means, how beautiful is the sky? So that's an expression of astonishment here. Ta'ajjub. That's called ta'ajjub in Arabic. Ta'ajjub. That's actually a chapter in grammar. Ta'ajjub, astonishment. So then he went to Imam Ali the next day in the morning and he said, something has happened to our children. And he explained to Imam Ali what happened. He told him the story. So Ali said to him, this is due to the mixture of the non-Arabs and the Arabs, or the Arabs and the foreigners. This is due to or caused by the mixture or the intermingling of Arabs and foreigners, meaning non-Arabs. Why? Yani, why does that matter? Because before Islam, the Arabs were isolated on their peninsula. They were not going out of their peninsula a lot, and people were not coming into their peninsula a lot. So they had their own, their own society and everything, their own tribes and their language, and it was pure. Mm-hmm. Then with the advent of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Arabs started going out of Arabia, encountering non-Arabs more on a much larger scale. And non-Arabs started coming into Arabia on a much larger scale because they want to learn about Islam. So the Arabs started mixing with the non-Arabs, and this caused them to lose their knack for their own language. So they started making blunders. Before they were able to read Arabic without dots and without harakat, and they could speak Arabic without mistakes.
Sure.
Then they got weaker in that. So first thing they did was they invented dots.
Mm-hmm.
Then after some time, they invented also harakat and shadda and hamza. I mean, the figure, the character for Hamza, I mean. Hamza's already in the language. All these things are already in the language. They just didn't have a written symbol for them. So they innovated all these things now to preserve the Arabic language. And the Arabs became weaker in their own language. To thwart this, the Muslims started documenting the rules of Arabic language and studying that. That started at the time of Imam Ali with Abu al-Aswad ad-Du'ali. When Imam Ali told Abu al-Aswad, he told him, he told him, go get some paper and pen. So he did. And then Ali, after some days, Ali thought about the issue. So after some days, Ali told him, Al-kalamu huwa al-lafzu al-murakkabu al-mufidu bil-wada'. Or something like this. Kalam is lafzun murakkab. It's a composed wording, a composed utterance that's informative, an informative composed utterance. And some things he said to him, Yani gave him some rules of Arabic language, just a little bit. And then he said to Abu al-Aswad, Unhu nahwa hadha, go this way. It means now you start documenting these rules. So Abu al-Aswad ad-Du'ali started looking into the Arabic language and documenting the rules. And he would hear some people speak, and he would hear someone make a mistake, then he would know a new chapter to write. And then he would write a chapter.
Mhm.
He heard someone reciting, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ with a kasra. So, I'll write it for you. He heard someone reciting this ayah, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بريء من المشركين so okay, the right way to recite the ayah is ورسوله.
Mm.
This means Allah is bari'un from the pagans. Has nothing to do with the pagans. Allah has nothing to do with the pagans. وَرَسُولُهُ and his messenger. Meaning, and his messenger doesn't have anything to do with them either. Abu al-Aswad ad-Du'ali, he heard someone reciting وَرَسُولِهِ. So someone said, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولِهِ. Now it means Allah has nothing to do with the pagans and his messenger. But it means, and nothing to do with the messenger. So when Abu al-Aswad heard that, then he knew how to write the chapter of conjunctions. And other chapters too. And he knew how to write the chapter of adjectives. When he heard this mistake, then he knew how to compose chapter of adjectives and chapter of conjunctions. And this is the inception of documentation of Arabic language. From here, they went on, still documenting, compiling, commenting, debating, became an expansive field. Having imams, also an expansive field with its own imams. And so this is how a person would learn Arabic by chain of narration. He's going to learn Arabic by chain of narration when he learns through the route of the Sunni scholars, because they are the ones who, in the first place, started documenting the rules, and then they were the ones passing it on. They were the ones learning the books and then teaching them to others and writing books themselves and passing them on until it gets to us today. So even the rules that we have, like in some university, Modern Standard Arabic has rules in there for Arabic language, or dictionaries you see like Hans Wehr, for example. All of that is due to the work of the Muslim scholars, no one else. All of that originates from the work of the Muslim scholars. So one should learn Arabic from them through chains. Then he's going to get pure, powerful Arabic. If he goes to university to learn Arabic, I mean, some worldly university, some dunyawi university, to learn Arabic's going to be watery. It's not going to be strong.
Is his name Abu Aswad ad-Du'ali?
Yeah, Abul Aswad.
Ah.
Here it is. Bismillah. Abul Aswad ad-Du'ali. Ad-Du'ali. Now, so writing. Since the student of knowledge needs to be strong in dictation to write down any verse, hadith, or random benefits from his shaykh, So I was working on this recently. This needs to be edited here. Take off the word since here. Just the student of knowledge needs to be strong in dictation, imla, so that he can write down any verse, hadith, or random benefits from his sheikhs. So al-imla is the knowledge of dictation. That means hearing someone speak and then writing what he says. That's important because, for example, if someone says Dawood, Prophet Dawood, how would you write that? The way to write Dawood is Dal, Alif, Wow, Dal. But there's an extension there, Dawood. It's as if there's another wow there.
Mhm.
You do say that, but you don't write it. So if you know imla, you know how to spell. Then when you hear someone say Dawood and you're writing, if you're in the lesson and the sheikh said, Nabiyullahi Dawood kana kada wa kada. God's prophet Dawood was this and that. So if you're writing, then you're going to know how to spell Dawood properly, even though what you write does not reflect what he's saying. Same thing like when you say Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman, for example. How you spell that? Ar-Rahman without an alif. This is correct spelling right here. Ar-Rahman. You can write the little alif in here if you want. But the old Arabs didn't used to write that. They used to write the meme connected to the noon directly. And we want to preserve the way the old Arabs wrote. Yani, although harakat have been invented and other symbols, vowel slashes and other things have been invented, we're still going to write the way the old Arabs wrote. For example, if someone's name is Omar, then you spell it Ain, Mim, Ra. That's how the old Arabs wrote Omar. And if someone's name is Amr, then you're going to spell it Ain, Mim, Ra, Wow. And all of the harakat go on the Ra, though, not on the Wow. Why that Wow is there? For the old Arabs to tell the difference between Amr and Umar. Because they didn't have any harakat. They didn't write that wow, they will have no way to know the difference between Amr and Umar written. So, but now we have harakat. So why we just don't say Umar and Amr, and now it's over and done with. Because we don't want to change the way they used to write the Arabic. We're going to preserve the way they used to write the Arabic. So then when you learn imla, you're going to learn these types of things. How to spell words like Amr and Ar-Rahman and even Allah. How that's spelled like that? If you want to think very technically and go back to the origins, then the name should be written like this. It's not written that way. Allah. It's written this way. So then that's how we're going to write it. We're not going to change it because we have harakat and everything now. Meaning, the old Arabs did not use to write the name Allah with an alif. The name of Allah is written without an alif. And even when we put this little alif floating here and this little alif, where else was one floating somewhere? I erased it. We're still going to say the Arabs wrote this without an alif. So the Arabs, since they wrote the name of Allah without an alif, then that made the ha connect directly to the lamb. So it became written not like that, but like this. I mean, they didn't even have shadda written. So the one who knows imla, he's going to know how to spell. Like the word hada, you don't say hada. This is a mistake right there. So the student of knowledge needs to be strong in dictation to write down any verse, hadith, or random benefits from his sheikhs. When I very first learned how to write Arabic letters, I started practicing in the lessons, when taking notes. Whenever the sheikh would say an Arabic word, I'll try to write it. But at first, I wasn't good at it. So I asked the sheikh, how do you spell it in Arabic? Then he'll be spelling. I'll say, what about this word? Then he'll be spelling. I'll say, what about this word? So he starts to get annoyed. MashaAllah. And also, the student needs to know the rules of reading. قوانين القراءة. قوانين القراءة. The rules of reading. Yes, similar to the imla. For example, here's the example we already have written here. Ar-Rahman. How do you read that? You read that without pronouncing the lam. So how are you going to write that? You're going to write it with the lam, even though when you hear someone saying it, you're not going to hear a lam so that you would write it, but you need to know that the lam goes there. And if it's written there and you want to read, then you need to know that there's a lam written there and you're not going to say it. And instead, you're going to double the ra. You're going to merge the lam into the ra and say Ar-Rahman. And the student of knowledge needs the knowledge related to writing. Ilmul kitaba. And this knowledge related to writing covers the rules of script, ar-rasm, rules of script, ar-rasm, which has three types of rasm, script, handwriting. Okay, let's say script, not handwriting. So the first one is scripting a mushaf. Scripting a mushaf. Because the Sahaba observed certain things when they wrote the Mus'haf. And they did not write a Mus'haf in standard Arabic writing, standard script. That's why you're going to see in the Quran, for example, you'll see this Qaf Lam in an ayah, and there's an alif there. And you say, Qala. Why they wrote that like that? Because in another recitation, you say, Qul. So they wanted to write something, that covers both recitations. Those Sahaba were dealing with numerous recitations. So they had to figure out how to condense recitations in script. And they still were not able to get all recitations in one mushaf. Without dots, without harakat, they still couldn't get all recitations in one mushaf. So they would write one mushaf. This is at the time of Uthman. They would write one mushaf. This mushaf will cover so many recitations. Then they'll write another mushaf. It will cover so many recitations. Then they write another mushaf. It will cover so many recitations. They wrote 4 or 5 or 6 mushafs, and there's different narrations about how many they wrote. And then Uthman had them sent to the different capitals. And then the Muslims started copying from these masahif. These became the same way we write till today, and anything else was burned. Because before that, they started writing mushafs according to the way their own tribes would write. Any tribe would write Quran the way his tribe writes. And then he would start reciting Quran the way his tribe speaks Arabic. While the recitation of the Quran is sunnatun muttaba'ah. Sunnatun muttaba'ah. That means it's a followed sunnah. The recitation of the Quran is a followed sunnah. It does not accept improvising. You can only do it the way the Prophet did it, alayhi salatu wassalam. So when Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman saw this happening, he sent a message to Uthman and he told him, catch the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam before they differ like the Jews and the Christians differed. So Uthman, he had a plan. And they requested the mushaf that Hafsa had, Hafsa, the Prophet's wife, the daughter of Umar. Because, like As-Suyuti said, the Quran was compiled 3 times. One time during the messenger's life, but not in one book, on different objects. According to As-Suyuti, the entire Quran was documented at the Prophet's time, but on pages, on leather, on bones, on bark, on leaves, like this. Then, at the time of Abu Bakr, Umar talked Abu Bakr into compiling a mushaf. So they compiled that mushaf and Abu Bakr had it until he passed away. Then Umar came in charge, so he took it. And then when he passed away, his daughter Hafsa took it. And Hafsa is the wife of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then when Uthman came in charge and they wanted to update the mushaf, then they asked her for that mushaf that she had, and they used it to help them compile the masahif they wanted, and then they returned it back to her. And they made so many copies and sent them out into the different capitals. And Uthman kept one with him in Medina. That's the one that he was killed over while he was reciting, and then his blood splattered on it, and it is now existing in the museum in Turkey. And for your information, the handwriting of that mushaf is not the same handwriting we see today in mushaf. They use different handwriting style. Handwriting style called Kufi. I don't have Kufi in here. In this, I have a handwriting book. This doesn't have Kufi. Yeah. Okay. So when scripting a book of the Quran, one must observe certain rules. Yani, what he needs to observe? He needs to observe the way the Sahaba did it. That's ijma'. The way the Mus'haf is scripted, as we have it today, that's ijma'. The ijma' of the Sahaba.
Mm-hmm.
So one must observe that. But if you want to write some Quran, not an entire Mus'haf, it is permissible to write it in standard Arabic. So where you would see the word in the Mus'haf written with a waw, and then they put an alif there, as-salat. When you write outside the Mus'haf, you're just writing, and you don't want to write a whole Mus'haf, it will be permissible for you to write it in standard Arabic like this, as-salat. That's clear?
Yes.
And then the second one is writing out the syllables of poetic meters. Rasmul Arudiyin. I don't have an example to give you. I used to have an example. I lost that copy, that version of this file that had that in there. So I'll have to replace it, inshallah. Basically, did you see how when I do the Aqidatul Awam lesson and how I was separating the English letters? It's
Yes.
something like this. This give you idea what they were doing. Because in the poetry, they want to track the vowels and the sukoons,
Okay.
not where the words and not where the words are starting and stopping themselves, but where the vowels and sukoons are landing.
Uh,
So when they study arud, it's called arud here, rasmul arudiyin. So you see the word arud here.
mhm.
It's
I have
called
my copy
arud.
open. Mhm.
It's called arud. That's the study of the meters, poetic meters.
Mhm.
So when they are studying that and they want to investigate what the poet did, they're going to write out his poetry, not in standard words though. They're going to write it out according to where the vowels and the sukoons are, and this is going to break apart and it's going to look weird. But I don't have a demonstration for you. Inshallah ta'ala, I'll get one and show it to you.
Inshallah.
Yeah, and then the third way of writing Arabic is al-rasmul mustalahu alayh. Al-rasmu al-rasmul mustalahu alayh. Standard script. Standard Arabic script. And for legible handwriting, for legible writing that pleases the heart, one should practice khat handwriting. Its two most famous styles are nasikh and ruq'ah. I studied both of those. Alhamdulillah, I had a nice, and I have an acceptable nasikh handwriting. It's not expert level, but it's decent. Alhamdulillah. So I can write in a clear, legible handwriting, and on a good day, it looks very nice. That's nasikh. That's the way the mushaf is. The handwriting of mushaf is nasikh. That's the most famous handwriting style of printed books. Most famous handwriting style of printed books. The other handwriting style that's most famous is called ruq'ah. Ruq'ah is most famous handwritten style. It means that when you go to school, if you are studying, just if you're an Arab growing up in some Arab country, you go to school and they learn you'll be writing in ruq'ah, or you go to the doctor's office, he's going to write prescription in ruq'ah, and like this. That's how the people just write in general. They don't really write in nasikh usually, because ruq'ah is much faster. So, for example, and I was good at ruq'ah. When I first started learning ruq'ah, I got good at it, and I didn't write in anything but ruq'ah, and it became very nice. And then I started writing in nasikh again, and made me lose my ruq'ah. So I'm not as good in ruq'ah as I used to be. But just to give you an example, here is the word. I was just looking at a word I wanted to use. Let's take the word ar-rasm. So if it were nasikh, then you would write it like this. For example, I could do different things with that meme there.
Mhm.
Or for example, here's ruq'ah. I mean nasikh. That's nasikh also. Or I could write it like this. That's nasikh.
Mhm.
As for the ruk'ah, though, it's going to look more like this, but I'm not so good at it like I used to be. Something like that. No.
Hmm.
SubhanAllah, I'm forgetting even now how to get it. Let me see something. Yeah. Here you will see. I don't know how clear this is going to be on my camera. So this is nasikh.
Hmm. Okay.
Uh, here's ruk'ah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You see, I see the difference.
Yeah. This is how people write with their pens.
Yeah.
The letters are shorter and quicker. The strokes are quicker.
Yeah.
And most of the letters are over the line.
Over them.
Yeah, most of the letters in ruk'ah are over the line, not under the line. So I'll need to review my nasikh, inshallah. My ruk'ah, I mean. Those are the most famous styles, nasikh and ruk'ah, and then there's other styles. People call them calligraphy. Well, I mean, that's what it is. Some of them are quite fancy. It's not really good for writing on paper. I remember there was one sheikha. She was not my teacher, but she was a sheikha, and she used to teach some of the students. And she used to write in Diwani. It's like the fanciest thing you can write in.
Hmm.
And the students have no idea what she's writing. It's very difficult for them. So I really was very curious. I did not see how she's doing that. I didn't see how, yeah, as even a teacher, how's this is not clear for her that her handwriting is unclear for her students. Maybe she was trying to teach them so it can be clear for them.
Hmm.
But yeah, mashallah. And then also you have phonetics. Phonetics, which basically here is tajweed. Tajweed, which is Quranic recitation, it is a branch of the Arabic language.
Hmm.
Because that's how you're going to learn your phonetics. If you want to learn phonetics, then study tajweed.
Hmm.
For proper pronunciation, let him not rely on some professor, even if the professor were an Arab. Rather, let him rely on the rules of Quranic recitation, the tajweed. And yani, you have some idea about tajweed. So we don't have to go into many examples and things there. But that's what's going to make a person have a good pronunciation. Some people ask me, how is your Arabic so clear? I say to them, from reciting Quran. Yani, and it's not anything unique, really. It's not excuse me. That's not any unique feat there for me to speak clear Arabic clearly. Many people who are not Arabs can speak Arabic very clearly because that's how the Arabic language is. And one of the things that helps the foreigner, the non-Arab, to do so is learning how to recite the Quran in the first place.
Hmm.
Then you're going to hear someone reciting Quran without seeing who he is. You'd never know. You'd think he was an Arab. He might be a Chinese man, or he might be something else.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Then there is the meanings. Knowing the meanings of words includes more than having a vast vocabulary. Al-mufradat. It includes more than having a vast vocabulary, but also knowing muradifat, synonyms. And some scholars said no two Arabic words have exactly the same meaning.
Hmm.
And also having vast vocabulary includes knowing words shared by opposite meanings. Words shared by opposite meanings, like the word folk. It can mean above and it can mean below.
Oh,
And I'll tell you. And also the word wara. It can mean before and it can mean behind. Or like the word asas. والليل إذا عسعس. Asas. والليل إذا عسعس means Allah swears by the night when it comes in. And he swears by the night when it goes out, because asas means to come in or to go out. Yeah, if an animal went into its lair, you say asas. It went into its lair. And if the animal came out of its lair, you say asas. Came out of its lair. Or I'll give you one more example. Al-qar. What's qar? Qar could be menses. And qar could be purity time. That's how the scholars differ. What's the iddah of a menstruating woman? Is it 3 menstrual times, 3 menstrual cycles, or 3 non-bleeding cycles? According to Abu Hanifa, it's 3 menstrual cycles. According to Ash-Shafi'i, it's 3 non-bleeding intervals. How did they come to this difference? Because Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that the iddah of a menstruating woman is thalathata quru. 3 qars. The qar has 2 opposite meanings. So which meaning is it, the menses or the non-menses? So to say one way or the other way is going to need evidence. And the mujtahid is going to deal with that. So he's going to use all his evidence and say, this means the rule is the menses. Or he's going to say, it means the rule is the non-menses. So those are called al-aldad, words that are shared by opposite meanings. For meanings of words, so this is called metnul lugha. Metnul lugha. It means like the body of the language, something to this effect. For the meanings of words, let not the student rely upon the contemporary dictionaries, many of which have been authored by enemies of Islam. Instead, he should rely on the ma'ajim, the dictionaries of the trustworthy Sunni scholars, like As-Sihah by Al-Jawhari, and Lisan al-Arab by Ibn al-Manzur, and Al-Qamus al-Muhit by Al-Fayruz Abadi. So As-Sihah, according to its author, is the most authentic dictionary. That's why he called it As-Sihah. To him, his dictionary is like the Sahih Bukhari of dictionaries. And Lisan al-Arab by Ibn al-Manzur's huge dictionary. It's on the verge of being an encyclopedia. And Al-Qamus al-Muhit by Al-Fayruz Abadi is the most famous of all the dictionaries. When he did this dictionary, it put all the other dictionaries on the shelves. The scholars retired all those dictionaries and they resorted to Al-Qamus al-Muhit. Though personally, I prefer some other dictionaries. But Al-Qamus al-Muhit, interesting thing, when I don't find something and then I look in Al-Qamus al-Muhit, I find what I'm looking for. And I'm like, I should have just been using Al-Qamus al-Muhit. MashaAllah. But the way he arranged his book is probably the thing that makes me not use it more often. Any question?
Let me just make sure I'm clear. the isnad of the Arabic language goes back to Ul Aswad Ad-Du'ali.
The what goes back to? Say it again. The what goes back to him?
The isnad
Yeah.
for the Arabic language.
Yeah.
Right.
For Nahu in particular, though, he was dealing with Nahu. Eventually, other things started branching out. So, like originally, they were studying Nahu and Sarf together. After a while, they sifted the Sarf from the Nahu. And then another scholar became known as the founder of Sarf. So then it all's going to go back to him, and like that. So it diverged, and so but originally, yeah, it's going back to Abu al-Aswad ad-Du'ali, and he was dealing with Sarf, Nahu. Also, another scholar is going to be one attributed with being the founder of Balagha, which is the rhetoric. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And who's the founder of Sarf?
The founder of the Sarf was, his name's Mu'adh, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like I removed his name. His name is Mu'adh, but I forgot what. Mu'adh what? I'll have to review, inshallah.
What about Balagha?
And Balagha also I'll need to review.
Said about the original languages, you mentioned three: Arabic, Syriac, Hebrew.
Yeah, and there's others.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, but I don't know what they are, but there are more. And I asked one sheikh, is Chinese one of them? And then he like hesitated. He said, "Let me not speak."
Yeah.
As if he wanted to say yes, but then he held himself back.
Yeah.
And those are going to be old versions of those languages too.
Okay.
Not the way we see them today.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked, was the Arabic of the tribes of Ad and Thamud more eloquent or as eloquent as the Arabic of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Every teacher I asked said, if we heard their Arabic, we wouldn't understand anything they're saying. So that's just like Old English. Somebody was speaking Old English, we're not even going to know what he's saying, a lot of it.
Yes. Yeah. I was an English major for a while in college. We had to study like Old English. I was like, what is this? Kind of turned me off. I was like, I don't like it. Inshallah. So Imla teaches us how to spell, right?
Yeah.
How so?
Because there's for the most part you spell Arabic the way things are written.
Yes.
But in so many cases you don't. So those cases where you don't spell something the way it's written, all that's gathered, and you're going to learn that in Imla. So in an Imla class, a person is going to learn about the words that are written without an alif, such as Allah and Ilah and Samawat and other words like Ar-Rahman and Hadha.
Mm-hmm.
And Imla is very easy science too. And like this, also a person's going to learn about the Huruf Shamsiyya and Huruf Qamariyya.
Okay.
And other things like that, such as how do you spell Ula? Ula, you spell it Alif, Waw, Lam, Alif, Hamza. But this Waw here, you don't pronounce it. So you say Ula. So like that's going to be in Imla so that you learn it. You're going to learn all those things and then you're going to know how to spell. Yeah, and you're going to already know how to spell because Arabic, most of it is spelled the way you say it. And then the few things where you need to know what's going on there, you're going to learn it in Imla.
علم الكتابة.
Say
That's
again.
the right. علم الكتابة or كتابة. How did you say it?
Kitaba, ilmul kitaba.
كتابة. Let's cover the rules of script, right? And it has three sections. All right, I got that in the book. I mean, I had the book open. Let's make sure what I wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
You said the recitation of Al-Quran is followed Sunnah, right?
Yes. A followed Sunnah. It does not accept improvision.
Alhamdulillah. All right. Cool. I got I'm gonna try to memorize, get these Arabic terms, memorize their meanings.
Yeah, and you add these to your vocabulary.
Yeah.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك